All right, diving in today, gonna be looking at something I bet you bump into like every single day.
Yeah. Pretty universal, right?
For sure, the to-do list, that old friend. We got this piece, Kwon Wang.
Interesting title.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But the point is, making those lists actually work for us, not just stress us out, right?
Totally. It's about strategy, not just scribbling down whatever pops into your head.
Totally. Yeah. So this piece, it starts off kind of interesting, not about being strict with the list.
Oh, I like that already. Because who actually sticks to those things perfectly?
Right. More like a guide, it says. Like, just seeing what needs doing helps you figure out what really matters. I don't know, does that ring true for you at all?
It's that mental shift, right? Like you're in control. It's not this bossy list. It's a tool. And when you do cross something off,
Oh, yeah, the satisfaction.
the piece talks about that. Like it's a legit little dopamine hit. Keeps you going.
Huge, man. That little check mark does something to you. Okay, but then it gets into time, right? Procrastination, the enemy of the to-do list.
Always lurking.
It suggests, like, actually putting a rough time on each task so you don't just keep pushing it off forever.
Oh, I've tried that. It's way harder to ignore something when it says do this by 2 p.m.
Right, and it even, like, reframes it not just time management, but energy management.
Yeah, that's getting deep.
So focusing your energy where it really counts on the things that actually matter to you. Like, have you found that helps? Or
Well, think about it, right? You have a vague thing on your list, like work on project, sits there for days.
Oh, I know that feeling.
But if it's like spend 30 minutes outlining project sections, today, 10 a.m., suddenly it's actionable.
Makes a difference. And then this is key. The piece talks about clarity. Like, if the tasks are vague, you waste time just figuring out what they mean.
Happens all the time.
So, knowing the goal behind each thing, that's what they stress. For you, is that something you struggle with, or is it usually pretty clear cut?
Well, sometimes I look at my list and I'm like, okay, but what does do research actually mean? Being specific, instead of write report, it's draft intro for Q3 sales using client feedback doc.
Oh, much better, yeah. Now, they had this whole system kind of caught my eye, the 135 deal.
Never heard of that one.
So, one big task, three medium ones, and five small ones for your day. What do you make of that? Too rigid or?
I kind of like the balance, right? It's not letting yourself get overloaded, but it's also like realistic about what you can actually do.
Yeah, and that mix, right? You're not just doing tiny things all day, but you're not tackling a huge project every single day
Yeah,
either.
exactly. Got to have that sense of accomplishment without burning out.
Big facts. Okay, they also said break down those huge tasks, the intimidating ones,
Oh, yeah, the ones you just avoid.
into smaller steps, right? So you actually see progress, that psychological thing again.
Think about a big goal you have, right? If you only focus on the ND result, it's paralyzing.
Ah, so true.
But if it's like the very first tiny step, open the project file, suddenly it's not scary.
And those tiny wins, man, they add up. Which reminds me, they also said something about elimination.
Elimination, like getting rid of stuff.
Exactly. Going through your list and actually removing things that aren't relevant anymore or do you need doing.
Oh, like a to-do list cleanse.
Kinda. But you're not overwhelmed by the never-ending scroll. Do you actually do that or?
You know what? It's like giving yourself permission to let go. A long list doesn't mean you're productive. Often it's just stress.
That's a good point. So focusing on what really gets you closer to, well, your actual goals, right?
That's where it all comes together. Because the list shouldn't just be random actions. It should reflect what you're actually aiming for.
Right. Bigger picture stuff.
When you see how each task connects to something meaningful, it's not just checking boxes, it's purposeful.
Man, that is so well put. Okay, so wrapping up here, it seems like what we've got is a good to-do list. It's flexible, it's mindful of your time and energy.
Definitely both.
It's clear, not vague. It prioritizes, well, maybe using that 135 idea, breaks down the big stuff, cuts out the fluff, and always points back to those bigger goals, right?
Absolutely. It's about intention and focus.
Love it. This has been super helpful, I gotta say. So for anyone listening, think about that one task you've been putting off, the one that just feels overwhelming.
We all have one.
What's the absolute smallest first step you could take? Just that, nothing more. How does that change how you feel about tackling it? Might be the key to actually getting started. Thanks for diving deep with us.
My pleasure.